Good afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome back to episode 2
It's not fucking afternoon where they are.
Shit.
It could be any time.
Oh
of day.
no! Welcome back to the Almost Handsome Cast. No, it's just the Handsome Cast.
Yeah, it's just the handsome cast. I think the
Wow.
microphone just peaked super hard from that yell there.
What a good intro to a podcast. So Seth, what do we have for planned for this episode today?
We are from the middle of Central Kentucky, and it's actually like the fucking worst town maybe on earth. Just because
It's not that bad.
No, it's only bad because it's completely overridden with drugs and there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
That's the reason it's overridden with drugs. Is there in the town where we're from, there's literally nothing to do because
There's a Kroger.
and that's it. It's because we're sandwiched between the capital of Kentucky, Frankfort, and Lexington, which is like the big everybody goes there do stuff city. So we're just
there do stuff.
it's what it is. And so Woodford's just like right in the middle of that. Damn it, I just name dropped it. I don't care. Woodford is like right in the middle.
51
and so
people are gonna
they're gonna kill
Half of
all of Woodford County, Jeffrey.
half of them are in Woodford County.
Okay, so Woodford's like sandwiched in between the two like best cities in Kentucky. And so it fucking sucks because nobody expects anything from it except a place that's in between, and that's exactly what it is.
It's good for small town vibes. That's it.
Not even all the time though.
Because they try to be a big town.
Yeah, that's
and they're not.
true, I
They're a
guess.
small town
It's
that tries
cute.
to be a big town.
We call
That's
it cute. So anyway,
Downtown Versailles is cute. Everything
I
else
love
is
downtown
just
Versailles.
wooded.
Midway is the name of fucking part of Versailles. Literally midway
Because
between the
it's
two
midway
good parts of
between-
Kentucky.
What should we call this? Midway sounds good. I like it.
We're kind of midway between the two biggest cities. That's fucking perfect! Nice!
Write it down.
Anyway, today we're going to talk about Woodford and bomb threats, sex, and shooting up schools because all of those things happened at our high school that's been
So-
around for 50 years. No, what is it, like
60.
60? Cool. It's
No,
like,
yeah, it's like 55.
It's smaller than the middle schools and 3 of the elementary schools in our town. The high school has just not been remodeled because they don't need to.
They just keep adding parts onto it. That's it.
like 20 years ago. It's been
Yeah,
a
like
bit.
20 years ago. There's bats in there. Bats fly around
there's
all
bats,
the time.
and you can never drink from like half the water fountains
Yeah,
because the
there's, like-
pipes are rusted shut.
They'll
and-
they'll tell us there's a boil water effect, boil water advisory in Woodford, and then like I'll ask my mom like, no, we didn't have that because she worked at
Yeah.
another elementary school.
It's just for the high school because they.
Oh!
it's poisonous. Also, okay, we're already getting. This is kind of just weird, right in the middle
We're
of high
off
school
topic
story.
already,
I
but-
don't care. That's fine. it's the
fine.
handsome cast. We got 51 listeners, like you said.
Hmm.
Fucking right smack dab in the middle of sophomore year. Our school lunches had always been just like major ass.
no.
Like they were so
Yeah, I
disgusting.
remember this.
And the school board hired on this like incredible like what is it, like a 4-star chef,
Yeah,
something good.
she was good.
She was really good. And so she went in and she like refined the system in all 4 of the elementary schools.
For a week, the food
The
was
middle
good.
school and the high school. It stayed good at all the elementary schools and the
Yeah,
middle
yeah,
school.
yeah.
But at the fucking high school, our lunch ladies were so piss poor that they literally just vetoed
They
everything
went
that
on
happened.
strike,
Yeah,
basically.
they said all of us are gonna quit unless we can just keep cooking the frozen food that's 3 weeks old and not actually have to prepare it. Because all the chef did was show them how to actually cook what was provided for them. But instead they just said, fuck you, we're gonna make it with water and that's it. And
They
we're gonna
were
color it
so-
red and that's the spaghetti sauce.
Don't get me wrong, like I don't like to talk bad about people, like it's just a mean thing to do. But those ladies have it coming because they
were
are so
mean.
mean. They are terrible people.
Like all of them were just so bad. Do you remember whenever Kaylee's aunt came over and made Zach cry?
Oh yeah, that was stupid.
We had a friend, or all of our friends sat at the same lunch table in junior year, and one of our friends spilt water all over the other, and the one who got water spilt on him got chewed out like hardcore
That was
by one
so
of the lunch
dumb.
ladies. And he's like the sweetest, just like most down to earth.
He's
person.
never been mean.
No, he's fucking awesome. I love Zach. And then like the lunch lady came over and just made him cry. Like he was like literally there were tears streaming down his face. 'Cause she was just chewing him the fuck out.
Yeah, and
not
like-
like there weren't tears streaming down his face, but like his eyes, he
got
like
water.
welled up because she was being so damn mean.
And yeah, and that's the same lunch lady. It's basically this one lunch lady, and she's so incredibly rude that one time I had to miss school for a hockey tournament. I was up in Notre Dame in Indiana, South Bend, Indiana. It's Indiana.
Yeah,
It's either
maybe.
Indiana or Illinois. I don't.
Notre
I think
Dame? It's one of the
it's
I's.
Indiana. I think it's
Idaho.
Indiana. Yes. No. But I go all the way up. I'm like across from Canada because you can see Canada. Like there's one of the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
There and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And so I'm like 8 hours away or something like that. and I'm playing hockey. I was on the ice when they were at lunch. I was a state away. I was not in the same location. I was miles away, and I'm playing ice hockey. And I get a text from Kaylee, like, obviously I don't check my phone on the ice, you can't. And so after the game's over, we won, and we go back to the locker room, and I check my phone, and I get a text message from Kaylee that says, the lunch lady accused you of making a mess today at lunch and said she was going to report you to the principal. And I actually talked to Mr. Akers about this, because
You were on the other side of the fucking country.
like, I don't understand how that could have happened. Like, I was gone, and there were crumbs on the table, and apparently when everybody tried to leave, she marched over to her, she was like, hey, you all keep making a mess, and I know who does it, and I know who did it today. It was that boyfriend of yours. And I was like, I told my mom, I was like, apparently I was accused of making a mess today at lunch, and they're going to tell Mr. Akers. And, like, when I was the aide for Mr. Akers, they were like, he talked to me, he was like, you make the mess? I was like, Mr. Akers, I wasn't even at school that day because of a hockey tournament. How could I have made that mess?
It's the same fucking lunch lady. That's the exact same thing
She's
she
so
did to
mean.
Zach.
She's so mean.
It's not like she's... I don't know how to describe it. She always blames it all on one person.
Yeah.
Because, like, the same thing whenever you were talking about Zach, what she said about you was what he did. Because she came over and screamed in all our faces, I know that you were involved, and I know that you're the instigator. I know which one of you did it, and it was you, boy. I know you're the instigator.
Wow, look at the audio.
I bear peeked it like 9 times, but it's cool. She was, like, literally, like, growling at him.
Yeah, and
just
she
like,
got furious.
it's just because there was, like, a little bit of water on him. He got messed up.
And we cleaned up our messes,
Yeah,
too.
always.
Like, I mean, to be fair, there were messes, but we always cleaned them up. We did their job for them.
Yeah.
They didn't need to be there. They
They don't even have a fucking job. They literally just put stuff in the microwave. Whenever they got their actual job, whenever the chef came in and say, oh, well, this is how you actually prepare lunches, they went on fucking strike and tried to quit. So they were just so lazy and rude, except there was one that was lazy and rude to everybody. This fucking big lady who wore her
JC
glasses.
one?
Yeah. No, not the JC one.
Oh.
Suza, the one who wore glasses
Are
on
you
her
still
chin.
wrestling?
Yeah, the one who was fucking hot for me.
Ah!
I
remember
this
that.
woman, this like, I'm gonna say 55-year-old, pushing 285-pound,
She's a big lady.
very poor complexion, a lot of chins on this girl. She hid her glasses, literally would like stick them under one of her chins. I'm not exaggerating here. She would take the glasses and push them into her chin, and every day. Like, she would... I don't know why. I'm not even like a fucking good-looking kid. I was just like an average
think you're
Joe.
hot.
Shut up. We kissed. We kissed.
Almost. Barely. We kinda
Everything's
kissed.
almost here and almost handsome. Anyway,
Hey, listen, the podcast is over. See you guys later.
this monster of a woman, every time I would go on the lunch line, would watch which one I'd go into and then move to that line. And half the time I'd switch and she would follow again. And then I'd get to the end of it. Like, I'd get to the end and I'd be like, I don't know how lunch lines work in other schools. I've never been anywhere but Woodford, but like, I'm putting in the numbers. And she's like, every day she would fucking grab my bicep and just start like rubbing it. And she'd be like, hey honey, how many sports are you playing this year? And I'd be like, none, ma'am.
None, man.
And she'd be like, I know you played basketball last year. Where's your rings, honey? And like rub up and down my forearms and arms. And I'd like get
Dude,
so
how did you not
scared.
drop your pants like that?
It was always so hard because I'd have to hide the boner underneath the pad where we put in numbers. Very embarrassing. Anyway, though, that would happen just like on the daily. And then, like, I don't know, sometimes she would, this one time specifically, she was like, how's my wrestler doing? I don't know if she was like she had issues and she thought I was a different kid. Because I played basketball freshman year. Not even for the high school, for a rec team. And then I never fucking wrestled in my life, except when I was like a kid doing it with my neighbors. And she's like, how's my wrestler doing? And I'm confused as hell. And I'm just like, ma'am, I don't wrestle. And she goes, come on now, don't be shy. I know you wrestle. And starts rubbing my fucking chest. And I was like, okay, don't touch me. Please, stop doing this. Like, I'm really uncomfortable here.
Yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to do this. And she was like, well, fine. And I went and sat down, and everybody on the table shit on me because my girlfriend, Susan. And like,
I don't remember that.
you weren't at that table. That was like Justin Bigelow. Oh, well. just bleep that one out for me.
I will.
It's at 9 minutes. 9 minutes, 27 seconds. Go back and...
I'll do that.
Okay, cool.
I'm probably going to forget, but I'll try my best
No
to
name
remember.
drops. Anyway, yeah, she would like flirt me up, and it was super uncomfortable. And I talked to my mom about it, and she said if it keeps happening, you can have her fired. But she didn't do it after I told her you're not allowed to do this. I don't think. Please don't do this.
All right,
And I'm
well-
an awkward guy, so, you know.
Let's just let's segue on over to our other topic, which is which is basically the title of this podcast, which is just about our dangerous and odd experiences at our high school.
That's one of them.
The first, the first one. What was the first one? Was it?
What we?
It was
the first one was the bomb threat freshman year.
the
That
first
happened
one was
before
the
anything else.
bomb threat,
Which
The
I think is
second one
pretty
was the
common
shooting,
in most
almost
schools.
shooting, not a shooting.
It
but
was basically a shooting. Like it was
a
a done
like
deal.
a week late.
It was so close. And then 2 sex scandals on freshman year with the
One of
teachers
those were
involved.
fucked up, like more than I thought. Okay, anyway, back to the bomb threat. Bomb threat, like I said, I bet that happens at almost every
somebody
school.
says,
Someone's
I'm
like, I want to go outside.
"Yeah, I'm gonna blow up the school," and then everybody goes outside.
And then everybody
those are
knows
generally
it's
fun
fake.
days.
They
There
catch the
was a
person.
bunch of those though. There was like 2 or 3.
Middle school, we had like 6.
Yeah, we really did.
Fucking, like, I understand you have to take it seriously by law, but, like, what middle schooler has access to, like, and like, did your phone just go off in this podcast?
I'm sorry, man. Just please,
Did
just
your phone
bleep that out too.
Did
Please
your
bleep that
phone
out.
just go off in this? Anyway, but, like, I understand you have to follow the law to a T. Like, you can't be like, oh, it's just a middle schooler, and, like, that's how your school blows up. But, like,
They took it very seriously.
they had to, but it's just like, really, it's a middle schooler. Like, what are they gonna do?
They don't have access to any kind of weaponry. But you see, to segue over onto the gun story we brought up about high school.
That was fucked up.
They've got access to that kind of thing. We'll get to the sex after this, because there's plenty of that too. But okay, so the gun threat. The shooting threat.
That was close.
It wasn't even a threat. They didn't tell anybody. They just planned to do it.
We got lucky.
We got incredibly lucky. They actually had like this well thought out mapped out plan of how they were going to literally murder as many kids as they fucking could.
All right, so
It was we're not going to name drop.
no, I don't even know the name. I
Yeah,
forgot. But
I
like,
know it, but we're not gonna
He's
say
in the yearbook. He's in the yearbook. They
don't
didn't
wanna
take
look
him
at him.
out. They
He's-
didn't take him out for some reason. But anyway, no, like not even like his class picture. Like our yearbooks are.
He
our
was a
yearbooks-
senior when we were freshmen.
Yeah, our
so.
yearbooks are very well done, very maintained by one of our favorite teachers, and we could name drop him and give him his
Dan
address.
Roof.
Anyway, but so he was one of our favorite teachers, and they do a fantastic job with the yearbook, and like they have like little quotes and different pictures, and like so and so says, and he said something, and it was,
Was it like a quote from Kurt Cobain, maybe?
yeah, I think it was like a quote from him, and it was like depressing, and like when you look back at it, it's like, oh yeah, no wonder he wanted to shoot up the school.
Just like everybody fucking deserves to be punished.
Yeah.
Don't whine if it comes to you.
But like anyway, so here's what happened. There had been a string of robberies in the small town, and he had just been taking jewelry and guns. That's it.
Not just guns. He took like any type of weaponry you could find.
Really?
There was like Bowie knives and like
Yeah, okay.
live grenades that he like you said he would like break into houses and steal valuables.
try to find
that-
anything.
And then he would apparently he was stashing them in like an abandoned house in actually my old neighborhood.
Really?
Which is like it's like in between, Midway. I talked about that earlier. It's a part of Woodford. In between the main hub of Woodford and Midway. He
Okay.
would just in an abandoned house. He just took like this just massive amount of weapons, like just like.
And this is like,
Some of them were illegal weapons.
This is
like
scary to talk
AR-15s.
about because,
the
like,
AR-15s aren't illegal, but like
they're
AK-47s and
Yeah.
just dangerous shit like
because like
multi-fire
people in
rapid-fire
Woodford,
weapons.
they're like they collect guns, and like I don't have a problem with that. But when somebody does get access to all of those at once,
And
it
somebody who's not mentally healthy.
Yeah, he
owning
was
weapons
not.
is fine if you know what to do with them. And
he
you're
was
safe
not
about
healthy
it.
at all.
This kid was, according to one of our teachers, who was like the big conservative mumbo jumbo teacher. He was very fun to have, very energetic. He talked about how from the beginning he just always got kind of a bad vibe from this kid. Like he had him freshman through
Teacher.
senior year.
What, like I'm not gonna drop his name, but it was the dressed up as a tank on Halloween.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
that was,
the one.
okay.
He talked about how this kid always like seemed kind of off.
And he's
he
like
would always
the only
look
one
at
to
people.
talk about it too. That teacher.
Yeah, because
No-
nobody
no
else will
other
even bring
teacher
it up.
will,
Everybody
like-
pretends it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
but at
which
least
it was like it was a big fucking thing.
they wouldn't even. The fact that they made us go to school. We'll get to that in a second. But anyway, this kid like apparently he was always offstandish and would like look at kids with like just this like like hate of Satan in his eye. There's the love of God that kids can have in their eyes. This is a full grown man who just couldn't stand human beings. Mm-hmm. And how did they get a hold of it? Was it through the child porn thing?
Yes, so anyway, he would steal the jewelry and all that stuff, and he would sell the jewelry to buy more ammo.
Yeah.
And their plan was he had like one or two other people.
It was him and a buddy. The buddy's the one that turned him over.
Really?
That's how it happened. Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, because
okay.
so go ahead, keep talking.
Okay.
I'll explain.
So what the plan was was they were going to pull the fire alarm and wait for people to start funneling out, and like they weren't going to shoot immediately because they like if you started to shoot, people would just run back inside the school. But they had access to the roof. There's just a door in our school that just leads to the roof, and there's a part where you can just if you park your car under it, you can get on the car and jump on the roof, and so. He was going to go up there and plan out over
Him
one of the
and
doors.
his friend. We're both going to be on like the main exit of the high school, and then the side exit.
side
that, like
door.
the other half, they get like you said funneled out.
And I have an
They were just gonna
interesting
stand
story
up there.
about that, but I'll say that in a second. But they're just going to stand there and wait for people to get out, and then they were going to pop up and just rain down. And like they could have gotten at
With
least
live
100.
grenades
Yeah, they
and
could have gotten at least 100,
rapid fire weapons.
at least 50 or 100, something like that.
It probably would have been the biggest school shooting for a high school in history as far as deaths and injuries.
That's
are
our
concerned.
claim to fame. Is,
Not just that. I forgot about the dress code bullshit.
Oh, that was.
We'll
that
get
was
into
dumb.
that later.
Well,
that is dumb.
yeah, that may be something that
They
people actually
probably
know
know about this, but
because we were actually on the news for that.
and like front page of Reddit for like 6 weeks. But anyway, so like this kid, right? The guy, the fear of Satan in his eyes. He would look at people and be all angry. He was apparently into small children, and we at our school they provided iPads. The iPad 2s were given out to everybody, and we used those for classwork and stuff. But they could monitor them once you were inside of school with whatever you'd been looking at or whatever was on them. And this kid.
7 gigabytes.
Yeah, no, it was more than
seven.
that, wasn't
No,
it?
it
Was
was
it
seven.
7?
It was 7.
He had 7 gigabytes of child porn that he'd saved to his school iPad. And not like teenage child porn.
Well,
It was
actually,
like-
I don't know if that was on his iPad. I know there were 7 on his hard
Oh,
drive.
yeah, but they found it through his iPad.
Okay.
Was how they exposed him through that, and he ended up having like upwards of 7 gigabytes. And a video file is like 300 megabytes.
And I think they searched his computer and found that, and they also found
That's where they
the
found
plan.
the plans. And then the only reason the other kid didn't go to jail, that's what I was going to bring up, is because he spilled like everything as soon as they questioned him about it.
Really?
And he didn't, like, he got in trouble, I think, for being an accomplice. Like, he got, like, fined, and he might have gotten a little bit of time. But the other one's in, like, fucking.
Well, he
big
wasn't
house
really the
prison.
danger.
Yeah, exactly. He was, like, apparently he was just, like, kind of like a meek kid who went along with it, that was dragged into it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, like, 7 gigabytes of, like, small child porn.
Yeah, his
like,
kid was fucked
pre
up.
13 years old. And if that's not enough, huh?
Like,
Was it
they
younger?
They were pretty young, I think.
I know some of it was like, have you ever seen it's the one movie that Michael C. Hall is in, and it's about like, it was him and his friends, and they like exposed this underground video service in Florida where they would like film rapes and murders
Jesus
and
Christ.
killings of children. That was like a thing on like the deep web, and that's where a lot of his shit was from, was like this deep web, super messed up, disgusting monstrosity porn of little kids getting it from like people that, without consent, of course, because you know they're children. But yeah, that was fucked up enough. And then the plans that they found that Jeffrey already explained, and it was the day before his like he'd had like the date planned, because like it was like some big thing that was going to happen in the school. I don't remember what. It was like a field trip or some shit. And like he had that
fire alarm, and just kill us all.
It just kill everybody. He had that date planned, and the day before was the day they caught him.
So we got lucky as hell.
Yeah, we got lucky, but then like there was still risk in going because they didn't know who all was involved, and like half of the school didn't show up because it was like made public. Hey,
I think I had to.
this
show up.
happened. Yeah, I
My
had to
parents
go.
told me.
My parents told me, yeah, it's no big deal. You're fine.
Yeah.
because like they hadn't been like made aware that it was this big a threat.
We got
They
a
were just
letter
like,
the day after the
yeah,
day.
the day, like the next day after we were, the
Should
kid's
have been
already in
dead.
prison and we had the chance of dying. But shoot, what was I gonna say?
Well, I could tell.
You go
my-
and tell your interesting story. You were
But
gonna
the
say-
story that I have is that I should have been one of the first ones to be shot because the side door that they were at, that they were like it was where the bus circle was.
Yeah.
I had a cooking class the first block, and they were going to do it towards the end of first block, and I sat next to the door, and every single fire drill I was like the first or second or third one outside, and so if the fire drill would have happened, we were right next to the door. I would just walk out. Like the teacher didn't even say like, all right, everybody gather up and walk outside. It was just walk outside, gather up in the parking lot.
Oh, man.
And where I was, I would have been one of the first people to have been shot at.
You would have gotten the fucking business.
Yeah,
like,
I would have
the
been
shrapnel and
yeah,
multi-fire
I would have
all
gotten
hitting you at
fucking
once.
everything. And so it's just kind of like, I don't know, like I was 14 at the time. I understood it was bad, didn't really understand it all that much. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm 18 now, I get it now. But like after seeing such mass shootings recently,
what they can do to the families and the people around them.
And so it was just like, oh my god, like imagine, because like Versailles is a smaller town. That type of killing, mass killing there, that would have devastated.
It would have dented the population because it's so small.
Like that,
legitimately.
That's the thing. Because like other mass shootings take place in larger areas,
This
Versailles
would have
is
been, like,
a small area. It's
that
a
would have
small
like
town.
it would have been like the next 2 generations of Versailles. They would have lived in fear because
And
the
then
town's so small. Anyway.
Imagine the people moving away because they're scared for their children's
which would
safety.
suck because although Versailles, like I said, it's like super overridden with drugs. Everybody does drugs. Everybody goes like nuts in parties. There's rapes and all that kind of thing. You know, school shootings, sex scandals. Because everybody's so bored, it is still one of the most beautiful counties I think that I've ever seen in my life.
It is, yeah,
it's gorgeous.
good. That's why, like, we do have some areas that we want to shoot skits at that are some,
They're just really nice.
like downtown Versailles is so historic.
Also, all of Midway is really,
Midway
really
is
pretty.
nice. Midway is just
All
like
the horse farms.
Midway is definitely a small town. They just got a Shell
Yeah.
and a Subway
Yeah,
and
they
a
did.
McDonald's, and they love
The,
it.
the McDonald's was the first fast food
Yeah,
ever in Midway.
But,
and that was last year.
but anyway, so that's our story of the shooting.
For shootings.
Fucked up.
Scary as
Almost
hell.
died. Yeah, very, very scary, but let's go on to a brighter subject.
The sex
The
scandals of
sex
teachers that
scandal.
have happened.
And like, don't, like, it's not like a rape. Like, the students were
Consenting.
they were of law. They were of legal age. That's why none of them got in as much trouble as you think they would.
I didn't think that the one that missed Detweiler.
She was of age. It's okay. It's okay. She's not a part of our thing anymore. But she was of age. She was a senior.
Okay, never mind.
But so anyway, so I'd like to tell the Miss Detweiler one if you want to tell the Miss Napier one.
That's fine by me.
Okay, go ahead and tell the Miss Napier one, and then I want to save the shocker for last.
Okay. Well, Miss Napier was this awesome writing teacher that we had freshman year. And me and my buddies, we were all in the same class, and Miss Napier was just so cool. And she was, like, geeky and, like, loved to laugh along and just was, like, right on par with our humor. Like, she, like, just enjoyed laughing with us. And even then, she was still a great teacher. Like, I learned so much in that class. And, like, it got me, like, it got my ass in gear as far as, like, writing and taking high school seriously is concerned, because even though she liked me a lot, she graded me really hard. But, like, like I said, she would laugh along, and she was very fun and stuff. And in being so fun, she was, like, very, very open to talk about things. Like, how into the guy that she ended up giving head to later on that year, and I think they actually went all the way. She, like later on, but she would talk about him and just have him into the class, even when he wasn't like an 8 or anything. She would just like have him in just to hang out, and like, yeah, we would go to lunch because that was our lunch block class, and we'd come back and her eyes would be like glazed over, and he wouldn't be there anymore, and she'd be all like giggly and floaty and flighty, and everybody thinks that she used to get high during lunch and then do shit with, I'm not gonna name drop, and I don't even know his name. But, like, yeah, she blew him a bunch, and they exchanged nudes, and they got caught doing it, and she got fired, and it's been pretty hard to get a teaching job.
She got fired, and she is not legally allowed to teach in the state of Kentucky anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't see what other state would hire her.
I'd hire her. Dude, what a fucking babe. I'm down.
But, like, she was a cool person, but, like, she was just, I don't know, her boundaries were off, I guess.
way off. She
Yeah.
was, like, she was too childish.
But now, Detweiler. This is where it gets interesting.
I think you're skipping out on the important thing that we needed to hire Miss Napier. If you're a principal and you see her track record, dude, hire her. Get some freaking head, dude. Luck out. Hit the jackpot.
Okay. But that... Oops.
Dalp. Let's just call her that instead of name dropping.
Miss Dalp. I'll just bleep out the part where you dropped her name, I guess,
That's
if I
fine.
remember. I also gotta
we've
bleep
said-
out our last podcast, too. No, it was this podcast.
We've said the N-word of the teacher like 8 times. Are we going to bleep all those out? Or
We said what? Oh, yeah, we should probably bleep all those out,
I don't
too.
think that it matters
I don't think
that
it
much.
matters. All right, anyway, so let me tell this story, then we'll discuss this.
Yeah, we could say it. I don't care.
Well, out of respect.
yeah,
but,
okay,
like,
okay.
This teacher, she was a good health teacher. She was...
They were both good teachers.
But like, the health teacher, she was the girls' volleyball coach. She was a good teacher. She was a fantastic volleyball player. She got a full ride to a local college whenever she was in college.
She was a scary woman.
She was like, she wasn't jacked, but she was very toned.
you know, like,
and very.
Do you guys know, like, if any of you have ever watched any anime before, you know how, like, the male character is never, like, buff, but he's always, like, ripped? Like, he'll be, like, very slender and,
That's what
like,
she would
toned.
be.
She was, like, a slender, toned male. Like, she had, like, pecs and, like, very, very defined biceps that weren't, like, huge, but she definitely was just.
But like
just,
she got up
jacked.
at, she told us
Not
that like the class, but like she told us like every morning she got up at like 4:30 and she ran a few miles and then worked out before she came to work.
She was just in really good shape,
And
and it was
she-
intimidating, and she had a very manly
yeah.
voice too.
Yeah, and so that's what like, and she was married. This was like the biggest shock about all of it. And so we go back sophomore year because it ended like nothing happened, and we go back sophomore year and she's not there. Nobody knows what happened to Miss Detweiler. Like nobody knew over the summer, and then what had happened was turns out one of the volleyball players and her would like after practice would take showers together. And so she was having like a lesbian affair with a student, and that's what was the biggest shock because she was married, and so like she would have like affairs with a student in her classroom, in the showers, in the gym.
She was married to a man who had no idea that she was into women. Apparently,
Yeah.
I remember that was brought up a lot. Like the husband was like distraught because she may have never even been into men and just like married him as like a cover up.
Yeah, and so like that was the biggest thing, and that student was of legal age, so I think she either turned herself in or just resigned, and people found out.
Is that what it was? I thought
school
the
did
student
not-
came out.
The student may have came out too then. I
I think
know.
the student came out maybe after the fact of
Yeah.
her confessing, which was, by the way, I mean, the right thing to do. You can't just do that stuff and just let it fester.
Yeah. And like I know people are like, oh, that's awesome though, but like you gotta understand, like
That's
when
what's-
you're in a small town like that, your reputation is tarnished. Everybody knows who you are.
It's bothered me so much
She
because
moved
every
it.
time that these get brought up, like you know, how, like I joked earlier, what a fucking babe.
Yeah.
Everybody actually has that attitude about this, and like I still respect both of them as teachers.
They were
just
good
not
teachers.
as morally correct people, you know.
Yeah.
Like, they just weren't straight.
I understand there could be an attraction between a teacher and a student, but you're like
You have to fight that kind of
yeah.
thing.
But like, we're getting too deep into this. We're not like don't take our word as gospel, but it's you know,
No, but like you know that it's not right for if the teacher is 35 and the student is 17 turning 18, you're not going to give them a
He was
fucking
18.
beige
Yeah, he
the
was
day he
18.
turns
He was
18.
Yeah, but like it was all legal and stuff like that. But I don't know. You just don't do that. And
It's
like,
not legal in the sense that she
No, it's not legal in the school sense. But like if they met outside of school,
yeah.
and like she was not the teacher of said student, it wouldn't have been legal. It would have been frowned upon.
Definitely,
but it wouldn't have been
Yeah.
illegal. But so yeah, that's our crazy stories about our high school.
Great high school.
And
I'm
like,
trying to think.
I do like our high school.
I liked it.
I liked
I
it.
enjoyed it. It
But,
was
there were some people there that I didn't care for. Just a regular high school experience, really. Nothing to.
we could get more into like because each year for me was such a vastly different experience.
Oh,
We've
God,
talked
yeah.
about this too, where it was different. So maybe not next, but in some podcasts in the future, we can go into like what made each year so different.
Yeah.
Because like fighting things like depression and different relationships that you get into and friend groups that you get involved with and things that you try that you shouldn't, they're all things that like you kind of want to talk about a little bit, but like that's too much to talk about for this. We've already talked about like the big scary things that
big
happen in high
things,
school.
yeah.
So whenever we come back to Woodford, it'll probably be about more us personally and less about stories. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, that does it for this episode 2 of the Handsome Cast. Remember. Hopefully you all like this. Let us know in the comments. Let us know how we're doing. If we're going on too long. If we're boring. I hope this is entertaining for you all. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for listening. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, thank you. Just flat out means a lot.
So anyway, guys.
You can find us on Twitter. You know, you can subscribe here if you want to. If you want to like it and do that. If you actually liked it, then hit the like button. I feel like I don't
Smash that
want to
motherfucking like button.
Exactly. You know what? Take it all back. Smash motherfucking everything. If you don't touch the subscribe button, get the fuck out of our channel and stop listening to this right now.